Welcome to Yoga to Soothe Anxiety. This is a chair practice. You could do in a chair like the one I'm in, which is just a simple chair, or you might have a chair with arms that you're seated in, or you could always sit on the edge of a bed or on furniture. If you choose, you may take this practice to seated on the floor or standing at different times. This is your practice and you can make it work for you. My name is Kim Tompkins. I'm a licensed mental health counselor and a registered yoga teacher. I'm delighted to be leading us through this practice today. You're always welcome to follow the movements as I demonstrate them, as I show them to you, but you may find a way of moving that works for you. The power of this yoga is in the choices. There is no right or wrong way to do yoga. Let me begin by honoring the choice that you've already made to be here today. That takes courage, it takes strength, and it takes the great medicine of self-compassion. When you're ready, let's begin. If you choose, you could come up to the edge of your chair so that your feet can be planted firmly on the floor. And you're welcome to begin by moving your knees from side to side and maybe experiencing some range of motion. It may serve you better to find the support of the chair underneath you more completely by scooting back. And you might take this moment to land in your body. That is, to rest your awareness into what it's like to be sitting here right now. Maybe you become aware of how you've organized your body in space. Maybe by scooting to the edge of your chair, or perhaps by having a little more support beneath you. If you'd like, we might begin to sense where the top of your head is in space. That's one way to come into the present moment. And you might interlace your fingers and possibly rest them at the crown of your head. Or you could leave your hands out of this and they could remain resting on your lap. And perhaps you just invite a sense of where the crown of your head is. So we're aware of the crown of your head and maybe the support of the chair beneath you or the floor beneath you. And when you're ready, you might release your hands. And you could begin to rub, creating some friction on your palms, maybe on your lap. Or maybe you bring your hands to center and bring your palms together and sense movement and friction when you rub your palms together. That's another way to become present. And in your own time, holding stillness in your palms. And maybe you're aware of some sensation in your hands. Perhaps you feel something and perhaps you don't. And maybe with hands at your lap or hands together, you become aware that you're breathing. And maybe you sense that you're breathing by feeling the rise and fall of your abdomen, your chest or shoulders. There's no right or wrong way to breathe. And if drawing your awareness to your breath doesn't feel supportive for you at any time, you're welcome to experience sensation at the soles of your feet or somewhere else on your body that supports your presence. And if you'd like to experience some moving and stretching, you're welcome to begin by rocking your torso back and forth to any degree that works for you. You might rock forward and back slightly, or perhaps you take a more complete forward fold. Any degree to which you choose to move is complete. Whether that's a slight rocking motion, and you tune into that sensation, or perhaps a larger rocking motion. And when you feel ready in your own time, you might come to center and take a moment of stillness, perhaps noticing if anything has shifted for you. It's possible that nothing has shifted, and you're welcome to your practice and to your experience just as you are and just as the moment is. If you'd like to bring a sense of efforting into your abdomen, you're welcome to reach your fingers forward, maybe sitting up and lengthening your spine, and with your spine lengthening, reclining back to any degree. So you could round your spine, or you could lengthen and recline back to any degree. You're always welcome to come out of a form. You could come out at any time. You could start and try something on, and you can change your mind. You're always welcome to change your mind. So you might recline back. And you may lift one leg to any degree off the floor, or perhaps alternate the other leg. You might go back and forth if you're choosing to lift and lower your legs, or you may rock forward and back, experiencing maybe some sensation through your abdomen in your own way and in your own time. And now if you'd like to, you're welcome to heel toe one of your legs out to the side, and you could leave the opposite leg in front of you for support, and you might bend over to one side. And maybe your elbow comes down towards your knee, or maybe you're resting on your palm as you arch over to one side. You could leave your arms down where they are, or take your front arm and sweep it up in front of you, perhaps circling. You could leave your fingertips on your shoulder and see what it's like to circle that way, if you're choosing to include the arm. At any time, you might reverse that circle, making maybe a swimming motion, allowing your eyes to follow your fingertips. That's one possibility. And maybe you experience some stretch in the side body, or maybe in your shoulders. So making that motion as big or as small as suits you in this moment. And when you're ready, you could heel toe, returning your feet together and pausing for a moment in the center. Or you might choose to travel right on over to the other side, heel toeing the opposite leg out at an angle. And at any time, you might bend over to the side and bring your elbow to your opposite knee. Or maybe have your palm resting on your knee and support yourself that way. You could hold this in stillness, maybe becoming aware that you're breathing, or maybe moving up and down is more supportive to your experience in the moment. And if you'd like to invite your arm into this, you could begin sweeping the arm up in front of you and then perhaps circling it open. So you could circle it, extending out, or your fingertips might be on your shoulder, and you might make circles that are large, or maybe they're very small circles. You're always welcome to close your eyes and go into your own movement. You may drift off while I'm speaking, and you can return at any moment if you choose to, making this your own. If you haven't done so already, you're welcome to reverse that circle, maybe making a swimming movement. Maybe making a swimming movement, and you could find some stretch, perhaps through your shoulder. And making this work for you. There might be tight spaces that you're aware of. You could move into those tight spaces, or you could avoid them, and your circle might not be a circle at all. It might be just some flowing movements with your body responding to you and your choices in the moment. And when you're ready, you can come out of that. You're always welcome to come out of any of the forms that I show at any time. You can return 2 feet to center if you like, and maybe taking a moment, you could fold forward, allowing your head to drape towards the floor maybe, or perhaps you support yourself on your elbows with your hands clasped in the center or pressing palms towards one another. And in your own time, maybe rounding your back and drawing back up to a seated position. So if you like, you might cross one leg over the other and maybe hug your knee in towards your chest. And here you might take a moment and circle your ankle, or maybe point your toe and flex, perhaps building up a sense of warmth, maybe in your feet. Maybe you experience some warmth in your feet as you heel toe. And you're welcome here to rest your foot in any position you'd like, and then maybe begin rounding your head towards your knee, and then lifting. Maybe even lifting your gaze towards the ceiling, maybe lifting the center of your chest towards the ceiling. Or perhaps you choose to rest your chin at your chest as you lift towards the ceiling. And you could hold in either of these positions, rounded down, or perhaps lifting up. You're welcome to follow your breath here as well, maybe inhaling as you lift and exhaling as you round. So if noticing breath is interesting for you to explore, you could inhale as you lift and maybe exhale as you round, perhaps. And when that feels complete, you're welcome to open your knee out to the side and maybe rock your knee from side to side. You could leave your leg here in this position with your ankle rested on your knee, or maybe you gather your leg up closer and rock while you're holding it, possibly rocking it, or maybe find places of stillness and moving around, aware maybe of your hip socket, or maybe you're aware of the strength in your arms that it takes to hold your legs. So anywhere you can notice physical sensation gives us the opportunity to ground our awareness in the present moment and center our minds. Practiced regularly, you can take this to the other side if you like. Practiced regularly, this habit of coming back to center in physical sensation will help alleviate anxiety over time, more and more. The more regularly you practice it, the more results you have in experiencing less and less anxiety over time. So when you're ready, you might cross your leg and maybe hug it towards you. And maybe you could begin rounding your spine, forehead towards your knee, and then possibly lifting the center of your chest towards the ceiling. So that's one option. One choice is rounding your spine, following your breath, maybe inhaling and exhaling. Another option is to circle in the hip socket and pull and stretch to find a movement that's right for you in the moment. And that might be stillness and it might be movement. And again, you might rest your attention on the strength that it takes in your arms to pull your leg towards you to any degree. And when you feel ready, you're welcome to bring your ankle to your knee. You might press your knee down and experience some stretch there. Or perhaps your knee's a little higher, so you could keep your knee lifted, or you could press it down. And then you might rock it side to side, or hold it in stillness, if that works better for you. And when you're ready, you might give your knee one more hug and maybe circle in one direction and then in the opposite direction before returning your foot to the floor. So if you'd like, you're welcome to begin finding some movement in your neck. And we can do this by nodding your head yes, and maybe tuning into the sensation of stretch in your neck, or maybe some warmth as you bring your head up and down. So you might nod. Another option is to alternate looking left and right as your chin glides towards one shoulder and then the opposite shoulder. And you could do this at your own pace. You could slow down and move into those places that feel a little stuck, maybe offering them a friendly hello. Or you may avoid those places that feel stuck and find that that makes this more available to you. If you choose, you could swing your chin from one shoulder to the other by dropping your head down in front of you, doing half circles from one shoulder to the other. So you could do half circles, and here you can have your eyes open or closed. And then you're welcome. You're welcome to continue with half circles, or you could move into full neck rolls. And maybe with your eyes closed, if you choose to have your eyes closed, just sensing those places that feel a little stuck. And maybe you notice that you're breathing. If you're ready, you could reverse that circle. And maybe you connect breathing. Maybe inhaling, especially when you come to a tight place. And maybe you seek to relax that tight place, or maybe we can just observe those places that are tight. Just observe, and maybe they shift into being more relaxed, or maybe they don't. We get a lot of benefit out of noticing without trying to fix things and make them the way we think they should be. Maybe it's just fine for your shoulder to be tight. And when you're ready, you might find stillness. And you're welcome to experiment with a little balancing today. But first, I'll invite you to move into the strength of your legs if you'd like to come to standing. So one way to experience the strength of your legs and experiment with balancing is to just lift up off of your chair. So you could do this by moving forward as if to launch off, and then find yourself sitting back down. Or you may place your hands on the seat of your chair and push off that way. Or if you have armrests, then push off that way. So that's one option. Now, if you choose not to stand and do the standing balances, you can follow along from a seated position, moving your own body in your own way, maybe in your shoulders, maybe stretching to the side or twisting. Or possibly you could move your legs the way that I'll be moving mine when I stand to experiment with balance. So in your own time, if you'd like to join me in standing, you might press up off of your chair and slowly, mindfully come to stand, maybe experiencing the movement in your legs. So you could remain here and come back, possibly to bent knees with your hands on your knees. And for as many times as you like, press up into standing. Your hands could be on your knees, or perhaps you want to lift your arms up and overhead as you stand, and then back down. So that's one option. And you could always connect this with breathing. Maybe inhaling as you lift and exhaling as you lower in a rhythmic way. Hold in any position, or you can follow me in the flow. Whatever works for you and for your body. So maybe you'll want to continue flowing, moving up and down with this movement. Or perhaps you'll want to hold either with your knees bent or perhaps holding and standing. But whatever works for your body in this moment. And one way to experience balancing while standing on 2 feet is to close your eyes for a moment. So if it works for you, you're welcome to close your eyes for a moment while we're standing. And if you'd like, you can come to the back of your chair, to the side of your chair, whichever works for you, and try that. Maybe with your knees slightly bent, or possibly they're straightened. And holding the chair, maybe you close your eyes for 3 seconds. For 3, 2, and 1. And now with your eyes open, you might choose a point down in front of you, or perhaps looking at the corner of the room. That's one way to balance. And maybe you sense your hand on the chair. This can help with balancing as well, if you'd like to hold on to the chair for this balance. So you're welcome to shift your weight into one of your legs, maybe the leg that's closest to the chair, if you're standing to the side of the chair. As you rock back and forth, sensing the pressure at your feet, maybe you begin to give weight to one of your feet and lift the opposite heel up off the floor. So you have your toes on the floor, and then maybe you lift your knee up off the floor. The supporting leg can bend. And if you'd like, you could carry the leg out to the side and maybe bring the arm up into it. And holding, maybe holding for 3, for 2, and 1. If you'd like to try that on the opposite side, once again, maybe you rock from side to side and then give your weight to the supporting leg that's maybe closest to the chair on this side, or to the opposite leg, wherever you are. And maybe you raise up on your toes on the other side, or maybe lift your knee. And in your own time, maybe you turn your knee out to the side. You could lift your arm, perhaps. When you feel complete with that, we'll return to the chair. And moving towards rest and restoration, you're welcome to find in your body some last movements, maybe fidgets that work for you. And then you could lean back into your chair to experience rest, maybe wrapping your arms by your side and holding on. Perhaps your knees collapse in towards one another, or you know a way to rest that's right for you. We'll conclude our practice today, and you can go on resting for as long as you like. Thank you for joining me today. And know that wherever your journey takes you, you can always come home to your body just as you are and just as the moment is. Thank you.